Mate, so you're telling me there's a deceased person in this house, the abandoned house, and there is someone who's been going in and out of this place often enough at nighttime to go in and change the light bulb? Why would you want to stay around that? Okay, this video's starting to get weird.
Come on, quit messing with me.
Wait, he's just come upstairs and someone's now downstairs. Now he's stuck upstairs with whatever was upstairs. Oh God, okay. What's going on, guys? Mr. here. Hope you're staying happy, healthy, and hydrated. Tired, Mr. here, actually. I'm not long woke up. As you can tell, my, if I can point to it, my bed, it's not looking all that great. It's not fancy, but it's more comfy when I get into it, I tell you. Anyway, welcome back to another spooky, creepy, interesting video, okay? Now, I think this is actually my third video that I've done on this subject, you know, urban exploring gone wrong. And the previous two videos have done pretty well, so it tells me that you guys enjoy watching this stuff, okay? So, we're gonna do another one. There's not as many as there is the spooky paranormal videos and the weird, strange ones, but it's a nice treat. So yeah, there is a lot of weird and strange, unexplained encounters and sightings that go on this beautiful earth of ours. But more often than not, they are found in the least explored areas. And that's why urban explorers and people that do stuff like that often see them more than we do. You might get unlucky walking down the street and see something terrible, you know, but it's probably less likely to happen than if you were to go into an abandoned building, warehouse, school. So yeah, we're gonna get into this, okay? If you enjoy this type of stuff, buckle up. Might get spooky, might get scary. I have no idea, not seen this video yet. We're gonna experience it together. So this video we're gonna be watching is from Chilling Scares, and the video is called 6 Most Disturbing Abandoned Building Encounters Caught on Camera. Okay, and if we take a look here, you can see there's quite a few spikes where people are replayed, especially down the back here. So I'm not trying to tell you to stick around. You can fast forward if you want, but I'm going to be waiting for that one. And this one happens to be in an abandoned school alone. Yeah, get yourself some water, get yourself some snacks, buckle up, get a blanket, get comfy, whatever like that. Let's get into this, okay? Let's do this. Scary urban exploring videos gone wrong. Right, Chilling Scares, here we go. Most disturbing abandoned building encounters caught on camera. Okay, Urbex gone wrong.
Christopher Brian Hill is an urban explorer with a YouTube channel called Urbex Hill. Over the past 10 years, he's been uploading raw footage of his visits to some of the creepiest abandoned buildings in the country, often running into unexpected and sometimes life-threatening situations. Urban explorers like Chris face many dangers. From aggressive stray dogs to hostile squatters to respiratory risks and unsound structures, venturing into an unfamiliar abandoned building is much more risky than it might sound.
Oh yeah.
It's obviously much safer to explore abandoned buildings in the light of day and with a group of friends, but in most of his videos, Chris explores at night and always alone. In June 2022, he visited the abandoned Westinghouse electric factory located in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
Built more than a century ago, the factory originally consisted of 7 different buildings, but most of them have been demolished by now. Even though the Westinghouse company was established in 1886, it didn't reach Cleveland until 1894. Founded by Thomas Edison, Westinghouse is best known for the notable engineers who worked for the company, including Nikola Tesla and William Stanley. For several decades, the Westinghouse company rivaled General Electric, and it was last used as a lighting equipment production plant before its abandonment in 1979. For the past 4.5 decades, the abandoned factory has been one of the hottest urban exploration locations for curious explorers and youths. The abandoned factory has been...
Doesn't that just look terrifying? I mean, it's awesome, but look at the way these pillars go up and just, there's so many. It's like the back rooms, but without the rooms or the walls, it's just pillars. You don't know what's hiding behind that one or this one. This one's trying to tell you it loves you. Doesn't. Does that say alone? A love. Oh, great. A peaceful place. Come on in.
One of the hottest urban exploration locations for curious explorers and YouTubers. In 2012, the factory started receiving even more attention after the Black Widow interrogation scene from the first movie of the Avengers was shot there.
Oh, okay.
10 years later, Chris made the trip to the abandoned factory and recorded everything he saw.
Let's do
this.
this.
As Chris begins exploring, there doesn't seem to be anyone around, and only the sound of crickets can be heard in the darkness as he walks around the outside of the building. Disturbingly, the sound of gunshots can be heard in the distance less than 5 minutes into the recording. It's worth mentioning that for the past few years, Cleveland has been ranked as one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the US, making this visit to the abandoned factory even more risky.
Here we go.
That's Cleveland, man.
That's a lot of shooting.
Crazy.
That's a lot, yeah.
It's not even that far away from here.
Thing is, it's more likely than not
That sounds like a
that there's
shootout.
someone in these buildings.
Chris has experience exploring everything from abandoned mental hospitals and sanatoriums to vacant occult temples, and he shrugs off the fear as he enters the creepy building. Just like in many abandoned buildings, Chris finds a mattress on the floor, meaning at least one person has been sleeping there recently. As he captures footage of the first floor and walks up the stairs to the second floor, all that can be heard in the eerie darkness is the sound of his footsteps.
That's the place. That's the place, isn't it? That it was. Yeah. Anyway, I'll shut
All
up.
that can be heard in the eerie darkness is the sound of his footsteps. A few minutes later, Chris goes down to the basement, and the footage becomes increasingly creepier as Chris runs into a series of dead ends under the leaky, moldy ceiling.
Oh God.
Okay, I'm hearing something.
Okay.
Maybe it's an animal.
One with rabies.
There's animals down here.
At several points during his exploration of the basement, he can be heard making comments about a strange noise coming from somewhere on that floor, and at first he seems to think it's an animal. Alarmingly, he finds a few shell casings on the ground from what was probably a 9mm handgun. Although it would be pretty unsettling to find something like this lying on the ground in an abandoned factory basement, it's worth mentioning that police departments often use abandoned buildings and complexes for training exercises. However, in this case, it's impossible to know if that's really what happened. Shortly after, he comes across a series of disturbing messages on the walls. He continues recording.
You're in his home. It's too late. I tried my best. I told you this is like the back rooms. Look, now he's getting to the parts where there is walls, okay? It was a maze either way. Amazing.
As he walks down narrow corridors, and this is where things get a lot more disturbing.
It's too late to apologize.
This is so wet.
Oh, dude, what are you doing?
God in me.
What are you doing?
Yo,
Yo, man, are you okay?
you need some help, bro?
What is he
Yo.
doing? Overdose? Freaking out? Insanely just messed up on drugs and he doesn't know what to do. He's not even aware that Chris is there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what demonic possession? I'm just kidding. I don't know.
He's not even responding. I'm gonna leave him alone.
Yeah.
Get the f out of his way.
Yeah.
Bro, that's crazy.
That's weird, man. You know when you're a kid and like often my niece and nephew, they want to play hide and seek and they choose the same spot every time, but I have to like pretend sometimes I like that I don't know that they're there again. I'll search the other side of the house. Do you think that that guy might be on a lot of drugs and he might be thinking they can't see me? If my eyes are closed and I can't see you, you can't see me. Do you think he might be in that kind of head state? You know, I don't know. Maybe he thinks he's not seen. Chris asked him for help though. It's getting a little too hot. I'm gonna take my hat off, okay? Let some air out from my head. Let's do this. Let's go.
Bro, that's crazy.
After about 20 minutes of exploring, the visit takes a very dark turn as Chris runs into a hunched over man without a light at the far end of the room. He calls out to him and asks if he needs any help, but the man doesn't move or respond.
He's like a
Chris decides
statue.
to leave him alone. Understandably, Chris's breathing can be heard getting louder and heavier after the extremely unsettling encounter.
Is he in slides or is he just in socks? Imagine being in socks in that though. Poor guy. I hope he's okay. I don't know what's going on.
But things were only about to get more disturbing for him.
Only more. Okay, it's still going.
I'm gonna help that dude out. I'm gonna get this dude a $20 bill. Yo,
Yo, he's gone.
hey, I got some money for you.
Now, Chris can't see him, but this dude can see Chris now. He's hiding, lurking in the shadows.
He's not there, and he's not responding.
About 4 minutes later, Chris decides to go back to help the man out by giving him a $20 bill. But alarmingly, when he goes back to the room, the man is no longer there. This could be incredibly dangerous, as squatters are known to behave aggressively toward unwanted visitors. And because they know the place better than anyone else, they can easily hide in the shadows and attack or scare visitors when they least expect it. One theory that many viewers seemed to favor was that maybe the man was not a homeless person at all, but a gang member who was hiding from the shootout that could be heard at the beginning of the video. However, it's impossible to confirm if this was actually the case, and it seems pretty unlikely given his strange behavior. As he continues searching for the man, Chris notices bats flying around the basement, and things get even more eerie at this point.
Okay.
There's a lot of bats down here too.
This is why I always say, like, in these videos, if you ever go urban exploring, bring a friend, man.
Right when he walks into one of the rooms,
at least two.
If you look closely at the far left of the screen, you can actually see the man from earlier standing in what used to be a door frame, staring at Chris in the darkness.
Wait, did Chris not see?
Alarmingly, Chris doesn't notice and continues walking. It's impossible to know how long the man had been following him, and in these kind of situations, it can be hard to gauge the squatter's intentions.
I would say the man probably wasn't following him. Or he could have been, but I don't think dangerously. I feel like this man is just trying to be by himself right now, and he's a little freaked out. Like, he doesn't know. He might have crazy anxiety, and he's just hanging out here right now, which would give me crazy anxiety being in there. But you know what I mean? And maybe he's been hidden there the whole time, and Chris has just walked over there. He thinks he's in the shadows. Like, you know what I mean? He's just trying to keep out of Chris's way. I don't know. I have a feeling that this guy doesn't have bad intentions. He's just trying to be by himself for some reason.
A few minutes later, the squatter can be seen walking outside as cars pass by the side of the building. At one point, Chris mentions he thinks the guy said hello, but it can't be heard clearly through the camera audio.
He looks
Just when he
sad,
decides
like
to head
his
out, he hears
posture.
a cell phone vibrate, indicating that there are more people down there with him hiding in the darkness. Having had enough disturbing encounters for the night, he decides to play it safe, and fortunately he was able to leave the building unharmed. He never found out who that man was, and since then he hasn't uploaded another video of the Westinghouse factory.
Okay, that's the end of that clip. You gotta be real careful. Like, if you're going out exploring, take at least 2 friends. You don't know what could happen. That could be, like, you're either just gonna want witnesses, and hopefully people, like, one of your friends gets away if something happens and they can report it, or the same thing if you just accidentally fall down a hole or part of the wall breaks or you injure yourself terribly. Like, you don't want to be there by yourself. Going exploring anywhere, just take people with you, please. Anyway, what do we got next? We got abandoned sauna. I've heard people say it's actually pronounced sauna. Is it because of, like, the Icelandic people? That's how they say it. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. You tell me.
This video was recorded in Tartu, Estonia, and uploaded to YouTube in August of 2016. In it, a group of 4 teenagers visit an abandoned sauna that was built more than a century ago in 1915, back when Estonia was still part of the Russian Empire. After fulfilling its purpose for 80 years, the sauna was decommissioned in 1995. The building remained abandoned for 23 years until in 2018 it was fully renovated and turned into a beauty salon, which is still operating as of this video's upload in 2023. In August of 2016, the uploader visited the abandoned location with 3 friends. Upon entering the building, you can see that it looks exactly what you would expect a building that's been abandoned for 21 years to look like. There's an insane amount of mold growing freely on the walls, the heaters are covered in a thick layer of rust, the floor is full of holes, and the entire structure looks like it could collapse at any second. Throughout the video, the teenage explorers also run into some disturbing messages on the walls. An especially eerie one reads, "You can't hide," and there are also several creepy drawings of stick figures graffitied on the walls in some of the other rooms. For the first few minutes of the visit, other than the disturbing messages and some loose shoes and other personal belongings, there doesn't seem to be any indication that somebody could be living there or had even visited the location recently.
I'm sure
However,
there
about
is.
20 minutes into the visit, one of the teenagers finds a door frame covered by a curtain, and they decide to explore the room.
Squatter, it's gotta be. There's a squatter. There's someone sleeping in there. That's where they live. And as for the graffiti and the messages that say creepy stuff, there's a lot of people that are just gonna write scary stuff. An abandoned building, you know, it's dark, it's weird, it's going, falling apart and everything. People are gonna write scary stuff. But a lot of the people that write those scary things often, you know, aren't the nicest of people. You're not gonna see me like, hey, going. By the way, that word over there that says, watch out, he's gonna kill you. I wrote that. You know, the people who are going to write that are probably don't have the best intentions, or they're just immature. Anyway. Yeah, someone's definitely been living in there. Oh. What else do you do though?
As one of the explorers,
If you're with that person that's living in there and that you got a bunch of people with torches and stuff and cameras walking up, what do you do? That's what I would imagine. Just scream. Start just being loud. They're gonna run.
shines a flashlight into the room, a gut-wrenching scream can be heard coming from the shadows. Immediately, the 4 teenagers run out of the building in a panic. When they finally step outside, the sun is already set, and the boys get into the car to flee from the location. Although the explorer was too busy running to show footage of the screaming man, it's more than likely that it was a homeless resident of the abandoned building who wasn't expecting visitors.
Yeah.
Still, it must have been extremely disturbing to experience something like that, even if they went together as a group. After that day in 2016, the boys never went back to the abandoned sauna again.
The clips like these are kind of expected. Like, if you're gonna, there's a lot of, unfortunately, homeless people and people without places to be, or people who were just, you know, stuck on drugs and they got no money, got no place, got no friends or family because of their habits, and they're just, that's where they live. Running into a squatter that's potentially aggressive in an abandoned building, that's like my first expectation. As I said, just be careful and take friends with you, okay?
In March of 2022, YouTubers Meg and Chris uploaded a new video to their channel, Back in Time MC, in which they showed footage of their visit to a rundown old farmhouse somewhere in the UK.
Okay, just to clear this up, the reason I thought there was a dead body is because it says every urbex's nightmare. We never expected this to happen. Doesn't that make you think, okay, what's an urban explorer's nightmare? Well, I would say that it would be a dead body. So I apologize for the confusion.
In the caption, they mentioned that they found an entry point through an open window around the side of the house. Based on the state of disarray the farmhouse is in, it's clear that nobody has been maintaining it for quite some time. The floor is covered in leaves and cobwebs, the shoes look dusty and unused, and there are even a couple of dead animals lying on the floor, along with some shotgun shells lying on top of a bedside table. The only clues that indicate somebody could have been at the location relatively recently are that one of the light bulbs in one of the bedrooms looks relatively new, and some of the clothes in the closet look only gently used.
Hold on, I'm getting big goosebumps, mate. Listen, okay, mate, so you're telling me there's a deceased person in this house, the abandoned house, and there is someone who's been going in and out of this place often enough at nighttime to go in and change the light bulb? Why would you want to stay around that body? Oh, okay, this video is starting to get weird.
The bedrooms looks relatively new, and some of the clothes in the closet look only gently used. Based on the pictures that Chris finds on different shelves and hung up on the walls, it appears as if a family of at least 4 children used to live in the farmhouse. As the couple continues with the exploration, they walk into one of the upstairs bedrooms, where they find something very unexpected.
Okay.
Thin, narrow piece of carpet that comes all the way across. Absolutely nuts. This will come into this bedroom here.
Oh man, this is sad.
And wow.
Can I help you?
Oh my god! Hello! You're alive!
You are?
You know, man, we...
You live in here, you can't live in here. Yeah? You
No!
can't. But we can't. Live
We
in
thought it was
here.
abandoned. We thought it was abandoned.
You can't live in here.
When he first walked into the room, Chris
Wait, who was saying what about their body then? Am I confused? And this lady that's sleeping in this broken bed seems so nice.
didn't notice that there was someone asleep in the bed. It wasn't until Meg walked in and made a noise that the woman sleeping
So, wait, you're telling me under all of that, that's the, oh gosh.
in the bed woke up and gave them the scare of their life. Although the uploaders blurred the woman's face out of respect for her privacy, it's clear that she's pretty old. During the conversation, she tells the couple that she doesn't have any family that could take her to live somewhere else less depressing. Out of sheer kindness, Chris and Meg keep the lady company and try their best to understand her situation. She introduces herself as
Sorry, can you see? Oh, it's gone. Okay, never mind. There was a big gecko on my window on the other side of it, like outside. It was just chilling, watching.
the lady company and try their best to understand her situation. She introduces herself as Jane, and over the next 10 minutes they ask her questions about how she ended up living all alone in an abandoned farmhouse. Thanks to the couple's empathy, the initial shock of being startled by the sleeping old lady and seeing her living in such terrible conditions quickly turns into a heartwarming moment in which the three of them talk about each other's lives.
What happened was, I came here to help somebody,
Okay.
and this is only for a week I'm coming,
Yeah.
and that was 1993.
Oh god.
Wow, so you've been here nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
Disturbingly, Jane mentioned
Wow.
she's been living in the abandoned farmhouse for 30 years, and even though Chris and Meg offer to help her, bring her food, and buy her clean clothes and sheets, she seems hesitant to accept anything from them, claiming that she's fine living the way she does. She mentions that even though it's not her house, the men who work at the farmhouse know she's there and they bring her food and water every day. In a touching moment at the end, the couple agrees with Jane to visit her again soon. This would have been a happy ending to the story, but Chris and Meg included a caption at the end of the video that casts the situation in a more disturbing light.
Oh no.
The caption reads, "I did a lot of research to try and find the name of the farm and whom it was owned by. Luckily, I got the information needed, and I even got a message from someone who knew the farmer who farms there." Chris goes on to explain that the man who reached out to him also knew that Jane was living there, and that the farmer also lives in the farmhouse with her. According to the man, Jane is very well cared for, but she chooses to live in those terrible conditions anyway. The man also mentioned that Jane's husband is up there constantly to make sure she's okay, but she doesn't accept his help very easily, or anyone's help for that matter. It's worth mentioning that Jane might not have been completely truthful about her situation to Chris and Meg. During their conversation, she mentioned that she didn't have anyone to care for her except for the farmer, but the man who knew the farmer told Chris that she also has a brother who tries to take care of her. Not entirely convinced by what the man told him, Chris continued digging for information and found that the farm was not on any land registry records, but there was another property to Jane's name that she owned between 1986 and 2015. After visiting the other property, Chris mentioned that it was as unkempt and beat up as the farmhouse itself. Having heard two different versions of the story from the man who contacted him and from Jane herself, he decided to contact Adult Social Services. This is the email he received from them. "Good morning, thank you for your email. I can confirm that Adult Social Care are aware of this lady, however, I'm not able to provide you with any further details. We appreciate your input and the information you have provided, and thank you for raising your concerns with us." Chris then told the man who
That's okay. Sorry. I don't know what to think. Like, poor woman. I mean, I know she's happy, she's fine living like that, but it's not good for you. It's really unhealthy. There's a lot of stuff in that house that's probably it's just not healthy, and she's getting on. She's getting old. Okay. I mean, as long as she's got, like, you know, food and water, yeah, that's cool. She's got a place to sleep and whatnot. But I mean, it's just not healthy. I mean, look at the state of that bed she's sleeping in. It's not good. Middle of the day under those blankets that haven't been washed in years. They've probably got all sorts of weird spores and molds growing on them. It's just not good, not healthy. Poor woman.
Contacted him to tell Jane that he and Meg would be happy to go back and visit her if she wanted them to. After this, there were no further updates on the old woman, and we'll likely never know what became of her. The only thing we know for sure is that if someone else decides to explore the abandoned farmhouse in the future, they'll likely run into the same situation as Chris and Meg. Sadly, this type of situation is much more common than many people realize. With rising prices and the overall state of the global economy, a large part of the elderly population is being forgotten. Hopefully, Jane can accept some help from her family members and live out the rest of her days in much better and healthier conditions than the one she was in when the video was uploaded.
I hope so, because that's not good. Like I said, I know she's happy. She's fine living how she is, but it's not okay. I mean, look at that bed, look at that mattress. She's getting old. That bed has no support. It's terrible for her bones, and man, it's just not good. Why did this clip make it seem like there was a dead body that they discovered? Do you know what I mean? I swear it did. Maybe I'm thinking wrong and I just thought that at the start, but I swear. Imagine the shock you'd get. You're just chilling, see these blankets, and then someone says, "Are you right?" Oh, sweet little old lady, I'm sorry. What we got next?
Robert Fulton Elementary is an abandoned school in a pretty rough neighborhood of Cleveland, Ohio. The building is 92 years old and has been abandoned for over 13 years. After several complaints from nearby residents who mentioned that the abandoned building was an eyesore, a potential crime hotspot, and that it was lowering the value of their properties, the mayor of Cleveland announced plans to turn the rundown old building into a high-quality, mixed-income housing unit for the community. Although the idea is still in the planning stages and the city needs more funding to complete the project, the plan is for the renovations to begin by the end of 2024. For now, Robert Fulton Elementary remains one of the creepiest abandoned schools in the country. In May of 2023, Chris Hill, again from the YouTube channel Urbex Hill, uploaded a video in which he made a second visit to the boarded-up, abandoned elementary school. The first video he made of the school was back in 2022. During his first visit, he heard strange humming, chanting, creaking, and banging noises coming from different rooms. This was part of the description in the first video.
Okay, most sections of this building falling apart and the water/elements has done irreversible damage to the structure. I would not recommend anyone explore the school. You risk getting robbed or worse. That being said, I heard weird noises and other various things during my exploration.
After these incidents, the vast majority of people would have been too terrified to even think of going back. But 2 years later, Chris decided to make a second visit to the school alone at 1 a.m.
And here's what he captured.
The decay is crazy in here.
From the very beginning of the footage, it's clear that Robert Fulton Elementary belongs in a different category of abandoned buildings than most others. What stands out the most about the building is the fact that just over a decade ago, children were learning in those classrooms, running and playing in the halls, and now it looks more like something out of a horror movie than a school. The eeriness of the location, the pitch darkness, and the extreme state of decay of the building all contribute to the school's incredibly creepy atmosphere, and not a lot of people would dare go in there at night, much less alone. For a building that has only been abandoned for 13 years, Robert Fulton Elementary is in a much worse state than other buildings that have been vacant for much longer. But Chris doesn't seem to mind as he captures footage of the dark corridors with peeling walls and random debris lying all over the floor.
I mean, it's just horribly decayed. And look at those stairs. Like, wouldn't you want to go up there? What did they break? What did they break? That's why you should bring friends. Anyway.
Ventures deeper into the school, Chris starts hearing strange noises, but nobody seems to be around, and he continues his exploration in the chilling silence. The underlying structure in some of the rooms on the upper floors seems extremely unstable, but Chris shows his expertise in urban exploration by avoiding the surfaces that crack under his feet. After about 15 minutes of exploring the top floors, Chris goes down into the basement, which is arguably the most deteriorated part of the school. As he explores the dark rooms, he finds some indications that other people could be living there. Interestingly, he also finds what appears to be a boiler room that's been flooded with water.
Oh, wow. Look at that. That is so cool. Wait. Yeah, there's definitely people that have been down there very recently. Look at that. That's got some just fresh dust on it. New. Not that old.
At around the 30-minute mark, a loud banging noise can be heard coming from one of the rooms, and it becomes very clear that Chris is not alone. As he steps into one of the classrooms, he finds a very
Don't explore alone.
eerie message written on the chalkboard,
Oh,
which reads,
Chrissy boy, what have you done?
Don't explore alone, as well as a paper sign on the door that reads, keep out.
Okay.
Despite the clear warnings, he goes inside, only
It's put there because, well, like if you live in a normal house that's not abandoned and you're a kid or something and you don't want your brother to come in, you get a cool keep out sign. Don't disturb. Chris.
need to find more signs that somebody's living there. This is where Chris's visit to Robert Fulton Elementary takes a very chilling turn.
Okay, he's got some weed or tobacco and some juice and stuff. Okay, behind that door. That's the room, mate. It's just, what are you doing? Don't do that. For all you know, he could have been waiting there, like waiting for you to come in, and he could have had a knife, and he could have just saw your hand touch the curtain, and he could have just. Don't do that.
Fearing for his life after hearing the blood-curdling scream, he sprints out of the building to safety, hoping that the man wasn't following him. If you look closely at the footage, you can see the outline of the screaming man when Chris peels back the curtain to his room.
Where? I didn't see.
Upon reviewing the footage later that night, he found something else even more unsettling. When he first walked into the building, his camera caught something that he didn't notice at the time. In the distance, a man's shadow can be seen walking into one of the rooms. It's not clear where the man went after that, but based on the strange noises Chris heard throughout his visit, it's very likely that the man was watching him all along. Although the scream was terrifying to hear, and we can only imagine what Chris must have felt at that moment, it's worth mentioning that the room he entered was probably the man's home, and from the squatter's perspective, it was probably just—
Okay, where's this outline you were talking about? Sorry for interrupting you, but like, because that's too dark to see anything. And this doesn't look like an outline of a man here.
just as terrifying to see a random man pull back the curtain to his room.
Oh yeah!
These kinds of encounters can often get violent very quickly, but thankfully Chris once again made it out safely. He hasn't uploaded new footage of the location since then.
I say it every single clip, but you just bring friends. Be careful. Like I said, for all you know, that guy could have been hearing you and waiting behind there, and as soon as you start pulling that curtain on, just boom, or punch you through it. Okay? You don't want to get hit. Why?
This footage was uploaded in October 2019 by YouTuber Baker X Derek, a tour guide from San Bernardino, California. One day, as he was—
Wait, does he? Okay, so he's got male genitalia there and an air horn for a horn. Okay, that's funny.
Riding his motorcycle on the highway in California, he noticed an abandoned house sitting on top of a hill and decided to take a look inside. From the very beginning of the footage, it becomes clear that somebody has already been there, and that it probably wasn't the original owners of the house.
Wait, what is this?
Unlike many of somebody's already been there, and that it probably wasn't
Caretaker of property, call blah 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 blah. Oh right, okay.
the original owners of the house. Unlike many abandoned buildings, you can tell this house used to be beautiful before it was vacated, but that doesn't make it any less creepy to visit, even in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it looks like a nice place.
Oh. Heebie-jeebies, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. Go down there, I dare you.
Dude, that dark room. I kept feeling something was gonna jump out at me. What's down here?
Oh, I don't know. Let's find out.
I think I hear somebody.
Take a little sneaky peek. Oh gosh, that's so dark. Yeah.
Derek goes down to explore one of the rooms on the bottom floor, and this is where he hears a disturbing thud. Terrified, he makes a run for it and even trips and falls on his way out.
Someone just threw something,
Eventually,
telling
he
you to
gets
get
back
the
on
fuck
his
out.
motorcycle and flees the location. As per one of the most popular theories proposed by viewers, the noise was probably made by a homeless person who was trying to warn Derek to get out of his home.
Yeah.
Although squatters don't spend all their time lurking in the shadows, it's common for them to use the darkness as a tool when someone comes into the building unannounced. It's a basic rule of urban exploration that if you hear a loud noise upon entering a room, you should probably leave.
Yeah.
Sometimes squatters make a noise as a first and final warning to drive visitors away respectfully.
And I mean, you also got issues if you're the squatter. Like, you know, you're in a place that it seems nobody owns, and there's probably going to be people coming in. So urban explorers are going to run into people who are living there, and people who are living there are going to run into urban explorers. It's not safe for anyone.
If Derek had pushed forward, he may have been attacked by whoever was hiding in the darkness. It's a natural impulse to call out and announce your presence in these kinds of situations, but squatters will very rarely answer these calls in a normal way. Nobody likes to be seen living in those conditions, and more often than not, the response will be rather aggressive and sometimes even violent. Fortunately, in this case, Derek was able to get away from the potentially dangerous situation just in time.
He took off with his air horn and he got out of town. That's funny. That's a good idea. All right, we got the last one here. Devil's Elbow. What do we got?
In central Ontario, Canada, there's a small community south of Port Elgin known as North Bruce. To the locals, however, it's known as the Devil's Elbow. According to John, the urban explorer who uploaded this video, the reason for the name was that there was once an occult high priest who lived in the mansion at a cul-de-sac, in which the townspeople used to think there was paranormal activity due to the occult rituals the priest used to perform in his home. The mansion has since been abandoned, and as of today, nobody wants to buy it or live in it due to its chilling atmosphere and sketchy past. According to John, some renovations have been made sporadically since the house was vacated, but as of the video's upload, the house was still abandoned. In 2019, John set out to explore the occult mansion alone at night, but things didn't go exactly as he planned. In comparison to other abandoned buildings, the mansion seems to be in relatively good shape, except for the garage, which has clearly seen better days. About
yeah.
5 minutes into the exploration, John starts to hear strange noises upstairs, but they seem to quiet down as soon as he climbs the set of stairs.
Okay, guys, I think I've been hearing stuff upstairs, but I'm hoping, and I mean this, I really hope
It's just an animal, you hope.
that it's paranormal.
Oh, okay, yeah, all that.
Not someone freaking in here.
Oh, probably is though, like, more often than not. You heard somebody talk, just say, hey man, I'm just exploring, I'll leave.
Freaking somebody down there, dude. Come on, quit messing with me.
Wait, he's just come upstairs and someone's now downstairs. Now he's stuck upstairs with whatever was upstairs. Oh god, okay. Oh, imagine that situation, jeez.
I'm just trying to freaking, I'll leave. There's something else in here. As I've got myself in a bad situation. Oh, jeez.
Disturbingly, as he walks around upstairs, the noises can be heard again, even louder this time, leading John to think that perhaps someone else is in there messing with him. Although he mentions loudly to whoever is in there with him that his only intention is to explore and that he doesn't want to bother anyone, whoever was making the noise doesn't respond and continues hiding. The noises stop for a couple minutes, but then something terrifying happens.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my god, free lantern. Hello? Is there somebody here? I'm not here to bother or rob anything. I was just here exploring. I thought it was a band.
It could have just been something to scare you, because he could. Maybe the guy could hear that, you know, this man randomly in my house doesn't sound all that threatening. He's sounding pretty calm. So maybe he thought if I say, I'm gonna kill you, that he's just gonna get the fuck out and hurry up. And why is there a foot here? Oh, it's from the other clip, the transition. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good scare tactic to get people out. But yeah, it sounded like it came from like maybe that room or something, or maybe it's that room, I don't know. But this dude here exploring was right here. Someone could have grabbed him from behind.
Disturbingly, a man's voice can be heard screaming, "I'm gonna kill you," and before catching a glimpse of who it is, John runs out of the mansion immediately and doesn't look back until he's a safe distance away from the building. It's unknown who was in the house or how long they had been watching him, or even if they had bad intentions or were just messing with him. According to several viewers, it's very unlikely that the other person in the house was another explorer. In the urban exploration community, people usually help each other out, and there's a sort of code that every explorer sticks to in order to help keep creepy locations as safe to visit as possible. If the other person in the house was another explorer, making noises in an abandoned house and screaming, "I'm going to kill you," would obviously be very out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
That leaves the question of who could have screamed at John.
Just a person who's got nowhere to live. It's not another explorer. Even if it's your first time urban exploring, I'm pretty sure you would already know instantly if there's other explorers. You just try and leave them alone too, but you're not gonna scream at them like that, okay? People don't do that if you're exploring. It's like an unwritten rule. You just know, even though it is written, but you know what I mean.
It's more than likely that it was just a homeless person who didn't want any visitors, but because John ran out before he could see anyone, this much will probably remain unknown forever.
See, okay, that was the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I just want to say though, if I was homeless, okay, you know, it's not a good situation. It's a very bad situation. You're not living that great, and probably got a lot of stress and anger as well. But I guess it depends on your personality too. Like if I was homeless and someone walked into that building and I was there, my first thing, I would just be kind. I'd say, hey man, just letting you know, I don't want to scare you. I'm up here. I'm living here. So I'm stuck in a bad situation. Don't really want any company, but yeah, just you can have a look around if you want. Maybe that's just me. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna yell at someone. Get the F out. I'm gonna kill you. So I don't want to be in an argument. I don't want to be in an altercation. I'm just trying to mind my own business. I can let them mind theirs without making it bad. I don't know. Anyway, that's the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I really liked it. It's good to step away from the more paranormal stuff and, you know, sometimes just watch some actual creepy things that we can more commonly experience than the paranormal. But yeah, if you like my spooky videos and you like these videos as well, let me know if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, because we'll get into it. Like stuff like this. most disturbing most disturbing Reddit theories, things like this, I am interested in. If you want to see it, let me know. We'll watch it together. We'll go right down those rabbit holes, okay? Conspiracies. Interesting stuff. We can do it. Anyway, with that being said, have a fantastic day or night, whatever time it is for you. Stay happy, healthy, and hydrated. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Good night.